Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, good people. Hey there, good people. I am super excited to have you join us for another episode of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. As you know, I can tell you that being in this space is not for the faint of heart, but I can tell you it gets really, really exciting when I get the opportunity to interview other dreamers just like myself who have the courage to share the truth about what this space looks like. Yes, in the video, the back of my hair wasn't combed. My afro right now is a little bit longer, and I am still able to grow and develop a business as I wanted to see because I'm being very consistent in pursuit of this dream. I can tell you that I have the best seat, I believe, in the house. Why? Because I have the opportunity to learn from every individual who have the courage to step in this space and also to exchange ideas, specifically from everyone. There hasn't been one person that I have interviewed thus far that I haven't taken some gems and we haven't exchanged some gems. But I want to tell you, I am deeply excited about our conversation for today because one of the things that when we are in pursuit of this dream, it does require an aspect of our dream to fund that dream. And I have to tell you that part of understanding now the importance of leveraging and having good credit is really important. And I had a chance to do some research, more deeper research, just in preparation for this specific conversation. And there's been a lot of indications within this economy right now that most Americans on average have about 61% of credit card debt, which is an average debt of probably about $5,000 on average, 5,000 close to $6,000 or a little bit more. And also, what I discovered is that nearly half of the Americans, and I'm saying Americans as a whole, need credit cards just to cover their average and essential living expenses. So, where did that shift? But when we think about, as it relates specifically to business owners, we ourselves are in need to be able to leverage those resources with financial institutions. And what I do know and have come to recognize the importance of having good credit scores, decent credit scores, but also understanding how connecting to the 5 C's that financial institutions really look at when they are looking to lend and have us leverage resources, which is capacity, capital, our conditions that currently exist, and also having some sort of collateral to be able to support those dreams. But enough of me, enough of me. I have the good pleasure of bringing on a fellow entrepreneur that is in the space of helping to support business owners with that credit, and also becoming better at understanding how we can leverage resources when it comes to our credit. So, enough about me. Just gonna bring on my guest. Hi, Kheetah.
Hi, how are you?
Doing really good, thank you. Welcome
Oh,
to the real journey of entrepreneurship.
well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So I am just going to jump right into it. Usually, I would like the guests to really just share a little bit about who you are, and also to tell us a little bit about what's not in your bio. So tell us who you are and what you do as of today.
Yes. So again, my name is Kheetah Kutuan. I live in the Hudson Valley. I am a credit repair specialist as well as a realtor. I've been doing real estate for a little over 5 years. Fairly new within the credit repair space, but there is such a need, just as Anita had mentioned to you, and that's the reasoning why I got involved.
So you are a serial entrepreneur, it sounds, right? And
Yes.
I am curious, what was the reasoning behind you? Okay, so you're in real estate, but also you decided to add on another layer which deals with credit solutions. Do tell.
Yes. So, as a realtor, I dealt with many people in finding rentals as well as purchasing homes. It was very difficult to find that a lot of people don't know what their credit score is, and it hindered them from getting a home. I also was a leasing consultant too for an apartment complex as well, where they take upon your credit score, background check, and so forth, and income, and noticing that a lot of people didn't meet the credit requirement. So, with that said, I was like, there is a need, and I felt so upset when I'm helping these people, trying to find a rental, trying to buy a home, and to find out that they don't qualify. There were so many people within the rental space too that were homeless, because they didn't have the necessary credit to even find a home as well too. So that's why I took it upon myself to say, I need to help more people out. I want to be a one-stop shop, and taking upon, being a repair specialist was that first step.
So I heard you say, and I'm just going to follow up based upon what I heard you say, that when members that were coming to you to buy a home, they did not have the appropriate credit score to be able to go through the home ownership process.
Correct.
How did you discover more deeply? Was it a specific group, or was it just from all of your clients that you were working with or looking to have them buy a home?
So if you could just clarify, you mean group as in, specific, like the like what type of people I was working with? Is that what you're?
Yeah, so what type, so was it like, what we know as like Gen Xers, baby boomers, was it a specific demographics, women, men that were coming to you, that did,
Surprisingly, it was a mix.
yeah.
It was a mix. It was, younger, older, black, white. It was really a mixture of people, which, I was like, wow, like, we need to, you know, have more education based upon that. That's why I, was very interested in becoming a credit repair specialist at that time.
So then from thank you for sharing that. And from a business and personal perspectives, so outside of your direct clients, what are some of your experiences that you can share with credit, good or bad?
Okay. Yes, that's a great question. So when I was younger, I had a friend who asked of me if I can put my name under their Verizon account. So, they were having financial issues at the time. And I was like, I really want to help out. Let me go ahead and do that. So I did. Come to find out, when they didn't pay the last bill. So that actually negatively was reported on my credit report, and that affects my credit score. So at that time, I was interested in getting like a business loan, to doing more investing and so forth, but that hindered me from doing that because of my credit score. Um, so yeah, just be very, very careful. I wouldn't advise, taking that upon, but it was an experience to see, how that can affect your credit score. Just one mistake, just one mispayment can, really hinder your credit score.
And it sounded like you co-signed for someone. Um, that's what it sounded
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. So it was, cable, Verizon cable. So I had put it under my name. So initially, yes, it was like co-signing.
And would you be able to describe, from your experience, the um, process or do's and don'ts in terms of like co-signing specifically? You had an experience, but there also could be perhaps some ways to leverage that into a positive experience for someone. Could you share?
Yes. So like Anita mentioned, there are some good and bad when it comes to co-signing. There are instances where people can co-sign in a positive aspect to get their credit score up as well too, especially with credit card companies, authorized users. Mainly with authorized users, it does have to be like within you have to be a family member now. You used to be able to be, have anyone as an authorized user, but they did change the guidelines in regards to that. So it has to be a family member. So what happens is you can add somebody on your credit card to help increase their credit score as well. But just make sure if you are doing that, if you are the person that needs assistance with increasing their credit score, just make sure that that person, is on time with their payments, because that can negatively affect your score as well too if they are not making their payments, and that will negatively impact your credit score. But the good thing is, if that, for instance, does happen, you can just cut the ties as an other authorized user and just not for either party too, like you could just easily just cut ties and remove that.
I know that there's a new trend that's happening, where if you have a young child, that you if you're looking to, especially if you have really good credit, to help them to start to build and leverage going forward. Are you aware of that practice, or have you seen that within your business where family members or parents may start the process of adding their child as an authorized user? Not that they're using
Yes.
the credit card, but what are your thoughts?
Yes. Yes, I do see that a lot, and that does help because at this time, like, you need your credit, you know, it's just so important to have and to start at a young age. It is also very important because you're building payment history, and that's like the biggest ratio of increasing your credit score is payment history. So if you're able to start that at an early age, you'll be ahead of the game.
And so I'm curious, when you are in your process and you have clients come to you on the credit solution side, what is one of the things that you do that really we can probably do for ourselves? So explain that, because credit repair, does take time, right?
It does.
So how do you navigate and help to if let's say for example I come to you, I have terrible credit, and I'm looking to rebuild my credit because I want to apply for a home, as an example. What is the process that you help us do? Because I'm looking at it when I come to a consultant or a
Mhm.
business that does this, is that you're helping me to do it much faster than I could do it myself. Do tell, do tell.
So yeah, that's why it's very important to work with a specialist, because there is a lot within the credit repair space that people may think that they are aware of. There's a lot of different strategies when it comes to the letters in how to combat negative items on your credit report. So and also education wise, too, like changing unhealthy habits, and that's something that I do as well too. I don't just repair your credit and then that's it, because you can easily revert back to where you start. It's a mindset thing. So I always, try to help my clients change their habits. So when I do repair their credit score, that they're unlikely to come back to my services.
So you said credit repair is not just about making changes, it's about a mindset shift. Elaborate on that.
So mindset shift, like such as like making sure your payments are up to date. Also making sure that you always take a look at your credit report, because 79% uh percent contains errors.
Mm.
So just keeping up to date with your credit report. You can also go to annualcreditreport.com to pull a report once a year, without no charge. So just being mindful of what is on your credit. There's a lot of identity theft out there as well too. So making sure you freeze your credit score so nobody else can utilize that and run it as well too, which is very helpful. Just keeping on top of it, yeah, everything, especially with making payments, managing your debt, and so forth. So it's very important.
So you hit on a point where it's so interesting that you mentioned about the mindset shift, right? So I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up with the conversations about credit, money management. I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where there were very few financial institutions within the community. It has changed since such time, but there still is the battle of the local, as an example, check cash in place, and a lot of what I call predatory services that do exist within those communities. And so when you speak about mindset shift, and also now throwing the accountability onto the individual to now be more responsible in terms of their overall financial health, I think it's great. Um,
Yes,
it's just one of those things that, another to do, but it's another to do to help us to build a positive future. Because
exactly.
who wants the phone calls in their office like I had? That was not a pretty thing to experience, because I was in debt when I was younger because I did not know how to appropriately manage resources that I was given out of college. I don't.
Yes.
I hope that they don't do that now, where they have they used to have tables out in front of colleges. I went to the college in the city,
Uh-huh.
and when we would come outside, they would have tables, they had water bottles, t-shirts, hats, and we had to just give them our ID and fill out an application, and boom, we had, a card in the mail, $5,000 plus with no real income. So it's very interesting, when those points of entry happens specifically with credit card. I'm not even talking about, like, having a mortgage or, a car loan or anything like that. It was just strictly, credit cards,
Yes.
so we could be cute in whatever it was that we was doing back then. So I really appreciate that you are providing wraparound services, and not just the repair.
Yes. Also, to touch upon that point too, I also facilitate in helping build credit as well too, because there are a lot of people that are invincible to the system, meaning that they don't have credit cards. So there's our credit cards out there, secure credit cards that help you build upon your credit report and report directly to the credit bureaus. Also, if you're currently renting as well too, there are services out there where your rents will report to your credit report as well too. So there is a lot that you can do to help increase your credit score.
So for someone um who have been in a space of not having the best credit, what are some of the simplest ways that one can begin to repair their credit?
So the simplest way that makes a huge difference if you do have credit cards is paying down your credit card debt. So you want to pay it down to 29%. So I'm going to use easy numbers here. So say your credit card limit is $100. You need to make sure it's paid down to $29, and you want to keep it under that threshold. You'll notice that your credit score will jump. I facilitate that to all my clients, and also I utilize that myself too. And you could see that your credit score could jump like 100 points just in that, making sure your credit cards are under 29% of the utilization.
Now, when you say utilization, because I know what it is because I'm in the financial services and I understand the lingo. For someone who doesn't know, what does utilization mean?
So what your max is on your credit card that you're able to spend. So say for instance, your max is $100 on your credit card. You only want to be able to use that up till $29. Okay. So, you don't want to go any more than that, because then, you'll see that your credit score will fluctuate more, decrease on the decreasing level. So that's what I'm referring to.
And is there a way that I know, because I know now what I do personally is, I have a business, so I have business credit, and I use credit cards for like points or, things like that. But typically what I do now is I use it and I just pay it off. That's just my method now. Before I used to keep balances. Now, is it okay to keep a balance on your account? What are your thoughts about how that could?
100%. I actually noticed that they prefer a balance, because they, just as being in America, it's built on debt. So, the credit bureaus and credit card companies, they want to see that you do have some debt, but they want to see that you're able to manage debt appropriately. So I notice, you have to have some sort of debt. So when you have to use your credit cards. If you're not using them, it's as bad as not having them at all. So you want to make sure that you're putting money on the credit cards, just making sure that you're managing your debt properly, as I mentioned.
And for those who, so again, we're talking specifically about, managing your credit. Um, how and which bureaus utilize or you can get your credit report. So you did mention annualcreditrepair.com. Where do they pull, what bureaus do they pull that information from?
All three. Yeah.
Which ones? What are they? For those who may not know.
Yep. So Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Those are the main three credit bureaus. So they pull those for all three.
And how often, from your experience, do they pull information? Is it monthly? Is it every 3 months, every week? Like, what does that look like if someone is new to looking at their credit report?
So they pull like every month, so it all depends on what day of the month. So every credit card company, every loan company is a little different. So those are questions that you would have to ask your credit card or loan companies when they report to the credit bureaus, because that's also very important to know. So say for instance you're paying down your debt and you want to pay it down within a specific time frame, you want to know when they are reporting it so you can pay that down. So when they do pull, you'll be able to see the reflection of your work based upon the date that they pull. Because if you miss that date, like I mentioned to you, they don't pull it until the next month. So you won't, see that until the following month.
Mm. So that's really interesting. So again, just reiterating some of the things that you elevated about being on top of your financial health, right?
Yes.
And so, would you be able to share? So, we talked about the credit bureaus and what that looks like. So, if someone wants to go to the annualcreditrepair.com, what could they expect to see if they have participated in this credit system, debt and credit system?
So if you could clarify a little bit more, what do you mean? What did they expect to see?
Sure. If I go, is it like when I go specifically to directly to the credit bureaus like TransUnion or Equifax? Um, could I see my FICO score when I go there, or is it like what would I see? Is it a full history? Is it a condensed history of credit that I established at that on annualcreditrepair.com?
So what you'll be able to see is you'll be able to see a snapshot of your credit score numbering, and also you'll be able to see a detailed report. There's quite a few credit monitoring systems out there too. So initially, that specific uh, company, you can pull your report for free once a year, but there's also other services out there where you could pay a monthly fee where you're able to see what your credit score report is, as well as a detailed report. And you also want to make sure you take a look at your detailed report just to see if there's anything funky going on. So you're able to catch that, before it's too late, too. So it's very important to make sure you keep up to that stuff. Because as I was mentioning to you before, that 79% of the credit reports contain errors.
Hmm. What type of errors exist on credit reports? I mean, aren't they getting somewhat accurate information, I would guess, if you're if you take a card from a financial institution, you take out, you go partying, you go on vacation, you go trips, whatever it is that you're doing, and then it gets reported to the agency. Like, what type of discrepancies could exist there?
Yeah. So discrepancies such as, a change of address,
Mm.
a misspelling on your name. If you do have an employers, because employers look at your credit report as well too before they hire. So if they have misspelling on the employer side and so forth, late payments, there could be errors on that as well too, just to name a few. But there's could be quite a few errors, or even for instance with identity theft, something that you didn't take a loan out, but then you see a new loan, a line of credit, and then you're like, okay, this is I did not do this. So identity theft is a big hindrance on your credit report. So you want to make sure that everything is up to date.
Have you worked with any of your clients in terms of working with if they've been impacted by identity theft or no?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes. And that's a whole different discussion on how to go about that too.
okay. So that
So
means
I
you.
actually work with a company too, that, it's kind of like an insurance policy. So you pay a monthly fee. So say for instance, if you do have an instance where you are if you do have identity theft on your credit report, you're able to use this insurance. It's up to like $1 million where you could utilize for attorney fees and so forth, because it can get very expensive. to remove that, because they have to, you have to state proof that it's not yours. So, um, and yeah, it could be a little messy.
Wow. That is yeah, very, very challenging, but I'm glad that you're able to provide that as a service to be able to support clients. And so, um, in terms of like your businesses, so you did mention we're talking about credit, but you are in a space of real estate. Um, Tell us a little bit about, what that looks like in terms of, someone comes to you, they want to buy a house and they're not ready. What does that look like since you're in both spaces?
Yes. So if they're not ready, I help them to become ready. So just as I said, it's all a mindset thing. So, you know, um, just giving you education to get you to where your end goal is. So say for instance, if they're not ready, their credit is not up to par, they don't have enough money for the down payment or closing cost. I create a plan, a savings plan for them as well too. So while I am repairing their credit, they could go ahead and save for the down payment and closing costs, because a lot of people don't realize, um, when buying a house, you have to make sure that everything is in line in order to do so.
Mm. That is a very true fact. And it's not just, for the down payment, it's once you live in a home, there's still monthly expenses that look a lot different than if you
Yes,
a whole lot different than when you are the person. You can't, call a landlord. You are the person. You are the
exactly, exactly. And also, I could facilitate a plan too to lower your credit cards and how you can lower it down faster, because you don't want to just pay the minimum. Because if you just pay the minimum, it's not, it's going to take a long time for uh, your credit score to, excuse me, your credit card to be paid down. So I come up with a plan as well for that too.
And so this is awesome. So in wrapping up, what are you mentioned some tips earlier, but let's have some takeaways for those who are listening and who are going to be watching. What are some realistic tips that you can share as it relates to managing, getting credit if they need it, managing it, and getting out of debt?
So I could say that, you're not alone if you don't know where to go. I can provide a free credit analysis report that will analyze your credit report. I also will give you tips and tricks on, if you don't have credit, how you can get credit. If you need repair, on how I can facilitate, and I also will give you some tips and tricks that you can do on your own, and also to increase your credit score. Also, after your credit is repaired, you want to make sure you protect it too as well. So I also will facilitate and assist you with that as well, how to protect your credit score.
Any last words?
So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about credit, because it gets deeper. That was just, a highlight of credit and how important it is, to have good credit. You can either find me on Instagram, Facebook. It's Orean Credit Solutions. Or you could text or call me at the phone number of 845-670-5005, for more information.
And so, as was mentioned, I am really happy that we had connected. This was really good stuff. A lot of times when we are having conversations, we are afraid to talk about the things that will help us grow. And I just wanted to do like a slight recap. What was mentioned is credit repair is not just about repair, but it's about a mindset shift. And that becomes really important as you continue to grow and develop yourself personally. And if you happen to be going into the space of entrepreneurship, this is a way. Personal credit is tapped into when you are first starting as a business. They need something to measure. If you weren't in business before, they are going to look at your character that you manage on the personal side. The other thing that was shared, you can go to annualcreditrepair.com to check your, and also to check your credit scores monthly, annually, but also become more accountable for how you manage your money and resources becomes really important as you're looking to grow, establish, and also maintain. And then the other thing that was mentioned, pay your credit cards on time. Pay your
Yes.
cards on time. What we discovered here today, that is one of the biggest measurements that gets included into your FICO score. Keep the utilization rate down. Use the cards responsibly. Responsibly meaning, from my personal opinion, is don't spend more than what you have. And credit, yes, it's a luxury. That's how I look at it. It's a luxury, but you really have to understand, how which bureaus and which credit bureaus that you're leveraging the resources from, where they are reporting to, because that is important to know, how you're being measured. And these credit bureaus are the way that we are being measured within this space. But then the other thing that came up is protect your credit. It does help with growing, establishing, and leveraging your businesses. So I am not going to let you go just yet. Not just
All
yet.
right, no problem.
So usually I like to ask wrap up questions, rapid fire, just to get the fun out of in addition to the education that we learned here today. So let me know when you're ready. It's one word, one word, one word.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay.
All right. So you're from New York.
That
You
is correct.
are from New York. Anybody who, when we go out of town, they're like, you got an accent. I'm like, whatever. Um, Tell us the best place in New York that you enjoy and appreciate. One spot, one word.
So I live in Newburgh, so I enjoy going to the waterfront, such as like Billy Joe's and so forth, and eating, relaxing, have a drink. So that is my spot for sure.
That's a spot. Newburgh is the spot. I can tell you that.
Yes.
So, the other thing, which do you prefer, ice cream or smoothies?
Ice cream.
Pizza or burgers?
That's hard. Okay, I'm gonna go with pizza.
Heels or sneakers?
Heels for sure.
In 3 years, and this is never one word, um, what do you envision your community that you are serving? Like, how will it change in 3 years?
So how will it change in 3 years? Um, are you in regards to how I'm going to be serving my community in 3 years, or just initially, just in 3 years?
What's your vision? I can't tell you your vision.
So
Vision.
so my vision in 3 years is helping as many people as possible become ready to purchase a home. So I love giving back to the community, especially within the youth space too. Um, talking to them about credit repair, becoming a home owner, and so forth, and how you can get the steps to do so. So just collaborating with as much people as possible, and meeting my mission and goals as to helping as many people as possible become ready to buy a house.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me again. It was fun.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are really excited. If you want to reach Kheetah, you can check out www.oriencreditsolutions.com. And a telephone number that was given is 845-670-5005. please be sure. Again, we are all about collaborating with other business owners. It doesn't matter from where you come from, because I can tell you that being in the space of entrepreneurship, it's hard. And so, any way that we can support one another, my belief is that we all can win. So, I am really, really excited to have you even come back and talk more about, what that looks like in terms of your experience with identity theft. So that
Yes.
is a whole, and I agree, that is a whole nother um, part that we often may be ashamed to talk about if it happens, but just know that there are resources out there to help you when you are challenged. So thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Alrighty. So don't forget, please reach out, help to support another business owner. Doesn't the even if at the simplest thing, sharing information, making a referral, it does help for all of us. So I'm gonna bring you backstage.
Bye. Thanks again.
You're welcome. So there you have it. I have to tell you, this is really helpful. Just when you think that you know everything, you really, really, truthfully don't know. And so it gets really exciting to have the opportunity for one to be able to share. But the biggest thing, I mean, the other tips were really dope and amazing, but I just wanted to elevate that credit repair is not just about the repair itself, it's about a mindset shift. So when you are in that space and you are thinking about, oh my gosh, I have all of this. What am I going to do? How am I going to get this off my plate? There you have it. You can check out Orean Credit Solutions.com. Kheetah will be more than happy to support your goal and your vision, to help you to get either new credit, help to build credit, or to maintain it. And that's 845-670-5005. So, I won't just leave you without, sharing some additional tips. I think it's really important that you figure out, specifically within the space of business, there are so many, so many, so many opportunities for you to connect with chambers of commerce. And no, they're not sponsoring me, but I just know my journey, in terms of, understanding and leveraging resources within your community. There are chambers all over New York State. And within your state, if you're watching from out of state, they're in also internationally, because I do know that chambers of commerce exist internationally now. I learned that recently, and they're all over. Please take an opportunity that if you're looking to connect with other like-minded businesses. I just happen to now sit as a board member of the Chamber of Commerce, Upstate New York Black Chamber of Commerce. So if there is a way that I can be a resource, or if you're looking for a way to connect, there's the space, one of the spaces that you can enter into. Also wanted to share that within New York City, and if you're upstate, downstate, you really can use all the services or find the one that's local to you. There are a number of resource networks that provide one-on-one services specifically to small business owners. Sign up, do a Google search, it's all there. I promise you. If you put in the work for yourself, your business will grow, but you have to put in the resources for yourself. Um, Also wanted to share that if you're interested in being featured on this show, if you want to buy ad space, you can call us. We do pick up the phone, 718-691-8966, or you can email us at info@11375.com. We're here to serve, to grow and connect with one of us. And again, if you need to reach us, again, the contact information is scrolling, but I will read it out for the listeners. We are at 11375. Yes, 11375. ELEVEN, number 3, SEVEN, the number 5.com. We are really in a space of learning to support one another as business owners. I can definitely tell you that being in this space, again, yeah, not for the faint of heart, but it is doable if you are consistently growing in this specific space. And I also wanted to share that this episode is sponsored by 11375. And you're probably like wondering, how is that possible? Because we have entities that support the the podcast and also the organization. So if you're interested in being sponsored or featured, please do not hesitate to check us out. 11375, The Real Journey of the Entrepreneurship. Thank you for joining us. We're out. Bye-bye. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375.